Amazing. Simply amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, I was notified last night of an ESPN Rankings update for the class of 2023, and my immediate reaction was, very excited because I was expecting Cornell Tate, who was a major outlier on the ESPN Rankings. He was ranked like 130th. Every other site, he was inside the top 60. He had lost his composite 5-star status. I was very happy of this news, ESPN updating their rankings, and I was like, wow, Ohio State's going to get back to 2 5-stars, maybe 3, because Noah Rogers is right there as well. And guys, when I went on to the ESPN 300, I was met with an absolute wall of Alabama commits, including Alabama has 2 quarterbacks committed for the class of 2023, and both of them are ranked within the top 23 in the entire country, both Alabama quarterbacks. Let me just let ESPN and their recruiting department in on some very valuable information. If these 2 kids were both top 30 players, don't you think they'd be going to different schools? Oh my God. This is another thing. That Alabama has 5 players ranked higher than Ohio State's highest player in 2023. That's another thing. But guys, I was like, all right, whatever. There's a lot of high Alabama players. It's not a big deal. I was not trying to freak out. So I scroll down, I see Brandon Inniss. He's ranked like 30th, that's fine. I see Luke Montgomery, right? I see some other Ohio State commits, and I don't see Cornell Tate. So I'm thinking to myself, Cornell Tate, not inside the top 100. It's ridiculous at this point, but, on 3 had dropped him. It's whatever. They probably just kept him at 130. He's not going to be a composite 5-star at this point. It's whatever. But guys, I kept scrolling. And I kept scrolling, and we've got a new industry comparison on Cornell Tate. By the way, Cornell Tate, this is the same player that Brian Hartline identified over a year ago as being his top wide receiver target. This is the same player that had a 7-figure NIL offer from Tennessee. No, but Cornell Tate apparently is not a top 200 player, according to ESPN. No, they dropped him another 100 spots. So he was 134, and we were like, yay, ESPN has updated their rankings. He's going to move up. He's 231 now. So look at this. Rivals has him at number 5 in the nation. ESPN has him at number 26 as a receiver and number 52 in the state of Florida. So this is just ridiculous, guys. It's at this point with ESPN, it's an insult to the kids. ESPN does not spend the money to be able to keep up and accurately rank college football players. They don't even know who Jermaine Matthews is. All right, apparently there was an Ohio State fan. He's like, why don't you guys have Jermaine Matthews ranked inside your top 300? They're like, who is Jermaine Matthews? They don't even know who recruits are. That's how bad ESPN is. They don't have anyone ranked. Now, as for the other players in this update, I have no clue if Ohio State players moved up or down, because they don't show in the updated rankings because their site is so. This is just look at ESPN's top 300. They spend $20 on the entire site. I'm telling you, you can't see if a player moves up or down. There's no previous history. It is a Dollar Tree level website. That's what it is. And this is the worldwide leader in sports. If you are 247 and you're the composite, at what point do we say maybe we need to remove ESPN from the rankings? Because we got On 3. Now you've got On 3. You've got 247 rankings. You've got Rivals. Maybe it's time to remove ESPN because they just rank all the SEC players up at the top. And I just thought it was hilarious. That's crazy that they actually have to Alabama. So Alabama, I didn't even know this. I knew Alabama had the one quarterback, but I thought once they got the other quarterback, the one that they had previously had committed was going to decommit. But they're both still committed, and according to ESPN, they're both 5 stars. because that makes a lot of sense. You're going to have 2 5-stars in the same class, not reclassified, just normal, the same class, and they both want to go to Alabama. So that's very interesting. But guys, again, overall, you can take a look at the composite. Now, it's interesting because if ESPN did do one thing, they moved Arch Manning from being the #1 overall player, which ruined his perfect ranking, which is absolutely the correct decision. I have no clue why Arch Manning had a perfect 1,000 score. If you want to say he's a 5-star due to the bloodline, that's fine. But to rank him #1 overall just because he's a Manning, he faces horrible competition, he shows up at no camps. This is such a speculation based off his last name that you're going to rank him #1 overall. So if ESPN did do one thing, they moved Arch Manning to #2. And you can see actually in the composite, it updated, and Arch Manning doesn't have his perfect ranking. But I don't think they've updated Cornell Tate's ranking because he's going to move down more. So I think this is going to be a negative update for Ohio State in terms of their overall average. You know what? I'm going to get it in front of me right now. Let me look it up right now, ESPN 300, and I'll go through where Ohio State players are ranked really quickly. So Anis is actually 34. Jason Moore is 49, so they're pretty high on Jason Moore. Noah Rogers, 60. So I think Noah Rogers is another one. I know he's 65 is a fine ranking. He's better than that. He's a top 30 player in my opinion. Luke Montgomery is 73. I have no issues with that. Dijon Johnson is 9. Guys, there's a rumor. There's been rumors that Dijon Johnson is going to flip and go somewhere. If he goes, we're screwed if he goes somewhere else. Oh, my God. But right now, I think Dijon is committed to Ohio State. Now, he is committed, but there were rumors that he was going to flip to, like, Oklahoma. Thurman, the tight end, is ranked 100th. That was a really good pickup, Thurman. Ty Lockwood is 136. You'll take that. Calvin Simpson-Hutt is 156. That's pretty standard. And just look at Kyan Lee is 180. Yeah, Kyan, that's actually a pretty good ranking for Kyan based on where he's been. Hawkins is in the top 300 at 220. Cornell Tate is at 231. Like I'm going through the tops. I'm scrolling down. You don't expect to see Cornell Tate, but there he is. So Mark Fletcher is 251. I think Ohio State has a big issue at the running back position. And wow, so there's no other Ohio State players in the top 300. What a freaking joke that is. So no, Jermaine Matthews is not in the top 300 then. Wow. Absolutely. ESPN, once again, it's like we've been waiting. We thought we were going to get it. It was such an outlier. And just like in ESPN fashion, he's ranked 134th. Every other site, he's top 60. And then ESPN not only doesn't move him up at all, they drop him another 100 spots, and then they say, oh, I don't watch film, you don't know, whatever. You guys have no money invested into your recruiting. You shouldn't even be doing it. It took you about 6 months. You were about 6 months late on your initial 2024 rankings. You've probably got one person doing the rankings, and there's no way they spend the needed amount of money to really create accurate rankings in the first place. This is a consistent issue with ESPN, and it hurts the kids. These are kids that, especially, oh my God, are you kidding me with NIL and the blatant NIL cheating and the boosters paying more money for the 5 stars? You think these kids care about their recruiting ranking more than ever? There's a major difference between being ranked 5th in the country, which is what Cornell Tate is on Rivals, and being ranked 230th in the country. There's a major difference. And you've got programs like Texas A&M blatantly cheating and saying, go find all the 5 stars and give them a bunch of money. And it affects these kids. They care desperately about their rankings. We need to do it more accurately. And, you know, there's rumors they might remove ESPN from the composite. Let's hope that's real. Let's hope that's legitimate, because this is a freaking joke. And then they say, oh, you're just an Ohio State fan. That's why. No, I mean, Brian Hartline's the best receiver coach in the country. He identifies Cornell Tate as his #1 overall target over a year ago. They invested so much into the recruitment of Cornell Tate. And then on top of that, you've got Tennessee offering Cornell Tate a $3 million NIL deal. But no, Cornell Tate's not a top 200 recruit. Let's trust ESPN and their 3 hours they've put into doing these rankings. That's what we should trust, right, guys? An absolute joke. Again, I don't know if they moved any Ohio State players outside of the top 300. There's not many players in it, but it is a negative update. And again, I don't think the composite has fully updated because Cornell Tate is going to move down more. Because right now it's like he stayed the same, but they already updated Arch Manning's ranking. So it's weird, like they've updated some of them and then some of them they haven't. But could Notre Dame pass Ohio State after everything gets updated? I don't know what Notre Dame's current situation is looking like in terms of if their players moved up or down in the update. So, I mean, I can't comment on that, but it's very possible. I mean, Cornell Tate moved down 100 spots. I don't think any Ohio State player received a bump of nearly 100 spots. So, it's going to be a negative update for Ohio State, very likely, once the composite gets fully updated. And you'll know when it's fully updated because Cornell Tate, who I think is like 39th in the composite right now, I mean, he'll probably drop to like 50th, I would say, in the composite. That's normally how it goes when you get a move like this, or like 52nd, 53rd, something like that. So when that happens, you should know it's updated, and right now it's a razor-thin difference between Ohio State and Notre Dame. And again, I don't know the Notre Dame situation with their current commits, whether or not they're moving up or moving down. So, I mean, maybe they had a guy that dropped massively or moved up. I don't know. You'd have to ask a Notre Dame fan. But either way, guys, it's a negative update. We've really had a... So the class is getting trounced right now by negative updates. That's really the third... Well, the On3 update was positive. Yeah, because of the Jermaine Matthews move. But the 247 Midsummer update was a total disaster. We thought Kyan Lee was moving up. It didn't happen. And then this update is a total disaster with the whole Cornell Tate thing. We think, listen, he's ranked 134th. All ESPN had to do was move him inside their top 100, and he would have been a composite 5-star. Now we're just hoping ESPN moves him inside the top 200 in their next update, because he's outside of it right now. He's outside of it. So, wow. You know, it's sad to see people cut corners. It's sad to see... Guys, I deal with this like I'm a professional person, and I come into this industry, and it is just a complete joke. And it's just like, this is what it is. Oh my God. The unprofessionalism of all of these recruiting sites, really, it is disgusting. And it's like someone who just is so used to a level, you know, you have to carry yourself in a way, and I see this, and it's like, wow, these recruiting sites are just really bad and really lazy. And it's so sad. It's so sad for the kids. That's the real crux of it all. And it's like, oh, if it's an Alabama commit, move him up. That's what ESPN was saying. They're like, the ESPN admitted, they said, listen, if he commits to Alabama due to Nick Saban's track record, we're going to move him up. What about Brian Hartline's track record? What about 2 first-round picks at the receiver position? Olave, Garrett Wilson, JSN, and then Emeka Ibuka, Marvin Harrison Jr. Yeah, they don't care about that because they pick and choose, and it's a double standard, so it is disgusting, guys. The Bama bump is real, and honestly, I can respect the Bama bump because Saban's unbelievable. I agree. I backed up Saban when he had his little feud with Jimbo Fisher. So I love, you know, I don't love Saban, but I respect Saban. But it's like, well, if you're going to give Bama bumps, you need to give Brian Hartline and his receiver room a bump. But they won't do it because they're hypocrites. So guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.